Hey, it's Neecee Lexy lighting up your screen. Digital magic like you've never seen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Neecee Lexy. We're here to bring you inspiring stories, expert insights, and conversation that would empower and uplift you. I'm your host, Neecee, and today we are not only having two phenomenal women with us here joining us from Australia. One of our guests is a passionate advocate for mental health, Nura. She's dedicated her life for breaking stigma around mental health, supporting individuals, and we're going to have more discussion on what that means and how you'll be able to get more information to help you manage your stress, cultivate positive mindsets. Our second guest is a dynamic fitness and lifestyle coach, an enthusiastic Miss Thiccums. I'm super excited to also have her here. She'll be making more insights on what it means to have a fitness, healthy lifestyle, as well as giving her some of her expert insight on how you maintain balance between life and your exercise. Without further ado, please let us dive into these meetings and help us joining us, these two lovely ladies, for us for the first time here at Neecee Lexy. Please welcome Nura and Miss Thiccums. How are you, ladies?
Hi, we're good. How are
Hi.
you? Thank you for having us on your show.
You're most welcome. So I just first of all want to say welcome to the show. And can you both tell us more about yourselves and the journey that led you guys to advocate for both mental health as well as the fitness, respectively?
I was a carer for my best friend who was suffering from mental illness in 2019. And there's a lot of stigma when it comes, especially coming from Africa and Sudan, that you should be feeling shame and embarrassed at the fact that you have mental illness. So for me, I had to be her voice. I had to encourage her because she felt so ashamed and embarrassed at the fact that she's taking medication. A lot of people were saying to her, like, you're possessed or God is punishing you. So there was a lot of stigma, stereotype that was going around. So I was encouraging her so that way she doesn't feel like that she's not a normal human being. Basically, as you know, in the African community, it's a no-no. So I started with her, and what I did was I opened up a Facebook page where I started advocating for the ones who are suffering in silence, for the one that they feel like there isn't someone that is their complexion, which is African, that is actually doesn't know what mental illness is, or that they're not ashamed to talk about mental illness. So what I did was I educated myself when it comes to mental illness and community services diploma, where people dealing with mental health and also addiction, gambling and drinking. And fast forward to today, I still advocate, even though at this moment I myself suffer from social anxiety. And I started to understand what was mental illness once it started hitting home, because I went from advocating for someone to advocating for myself. And then in the African community, they've got this thing where they think you having mental illness either comes from substance, being possessed, or the other thing is that you were born with it and family should be ashamed of it and they should be hiding it away, which none of it is. I mean, being born by it or with it, yes, genetically it can happen. Yeah. By substance, yes, it can happen. People can have a psychotic episode. But the other one is, the number one that people forget is that the traumatic experience that you go through. And we all have experienced traumatic experience. For me, it was after losing my husband, dying from cancer. So, and I became more advocate after that. I felt what depression is, what anxiety is, what panic attack is. Before I could only speak on it because on theory, but when it happens to me in practical and going through it, and just there are days that I just didn't want to wake up, and there are days that I just felt like today's not my day. Or there are days where I'm like, yay, I'm alive. So it was like an up and down roller coaster, and I had nobody next to me. And it took about me trying to unalive myself to have my family understand what I was actually going through, for them to understand that this is a serious mental illness that they shouldn't be ashamed of, that they should be helping. When my mom saw me in the hospital bed, That's when she realized that she had to put her pride aside, the stereotype of being African and being ashamed of her own child suffering in silence.
Mm.
And then she started to understand slowly what is mental illness, how she can communicate with me without having to trigger me. And that took a lot because, having a Sudanese mother, obviously, this is something that they're not, they go to Dahagat al Khawaja, obviously, it's something to do with but it's not. It's with all of us. It took a lot for mom, but now mom understands that it can happen to anybody and everybody. And that is why I'm advocating so much about it, because whoever you are, wherever you are, if you are going through something, it's okay not being okay. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to express yourself. You are a normal human being who just got some struggles and challenges that you just have to come over, and there are steps that you can do that you can get to the other side. There's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Amen.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was such a lovely introduction. I just listened to all of it. I want to say, first of all, condolence to your husband. And then obviously mental health is not such an easy thing and an easy journey to be able to like go through it. And what you have experienced, as well as like your friends, and then being an advocate and also somebody who have gone through it, there's a lot of strength and resilience to even come out and be like, you know what, guys, I want to talk about it. Because a lot of times people will shy away. They'll be like, oh, you know what, I don't want to speak about it. I don't want people to know about it. But you being a voice and actually like, telling people like, hey, look, you can get help. I was there. And this is a chance for you guys to also speak more about it, because that way it makes more comfortable conversation for us to have, especially in our community. I don't think many people feel the comfortable to speak on it because they will feel judged, or they will feel ostrated from the community and things like that, right? And it really commend you for standing up and be like, no, I will speak on it and I will share my story, because that is something that not only you're overcoming that hurdle and coming to the other side, you're showing us a testimony of like, okay, I can be better, and you can also too, So thank you so much for that. I would appreciate it. The other thing I wanted to ask you is like, especially for those who are going through it and things like that, how can somebody recognize and try to prioritize like the mental health or the signs to watch out for it? Like, what are some of the signs? If, let's say, because a lot of times people be like, oh, I'm just kind of like, it's overwork or burnout, but they might not know like, it's mental health.
The most common sign is isolation. A lot of people, they distance themselves, they get feeling that they're getting annoyed by people, but in actuality, they're just being triggered and they just want to be by themselves. Like isolating, not getting up to shower, not getting up, looking forward to for the day, not feeling motivated, and starting to feel numb. It can be a seasonal depression or it can be a clinical depression, but to get to know the difference between the two, you will actually have to go and get it diagnosed professionally. But the number one is isolation. A lot of people think, oh, it's just because it's too much right now, I can't handle the world, so I'm just going to close my door and just stay in my bed all day. Sometimes we can have that. It doesn't mean it's actually depression. But if it goes for a long time, that is the sign for it. Maybe you don't feel like getting up from bed today, which is okay. That is not depression by all means. But if you are staying in bed weeks after weeks after weeks, that is one of the signs. The other thing is that not eating properly. Don't feel like eating. The appetite is shut. For a day or two is fine, but if you continue as well, that's the other sign. Just the lack of hygiene. Like if you were the type of person who showers at night and you don't feel like doing it anymore, or you shower in the morning, you don't feel like doing it anymore, but it has to have gone like for a week or two, not just like not showering today and then you shower tomorrow and you say you're depressed. And it can be different. It can be different in every different people. Like there are some signs that can come, or the signs will come when it's too late. So depending. So whatever that you are feeling, it's okay to feel it as long as that you make sure that you look after yourself and you reach out. Even just talk to your doctor. You don't necessarily have to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I don't know what they call them in Canada.
Yes. Yeah, we have therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, or even like social workers that will
Yeah.
also, yeah.
So these are the signs. And the other thing is that surround yourself with positive people. Like your environment is really, really important. If your environment is clean, the mind becomes clean. Not straight away, but it will eventually be. But if you put yourself in a not motivated, not uplifting environment, that's just going to add more to your depression or to your anxiety. For
Yeah.
me, I had to I seeked help from different ethnicities.
Mhm.
I sought help professionally, and I had to learn how to deal with depression every day. And every day is a different journey. It's a work that you have to put in. Not just medication does the job, but you also have to put the effort in.
Yeah.
That way, you can actually continue living your life every day. Only the difference is that you have to take medication if
Mm.
you get to that point, and I pray you don't. But if you do, it's okay because there's a lot of help out there. And then also look after yourself. Take care of yourself. Everybody is here in this world because we're all unique and beautiful in our own way. And you will learn how to actually take care of you once you are being diagnosed the right diagnosis, and
Mhm.
then you can go from there.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. I love the fact that you to like, help us identify the sign. And and the one thing about the cleanliness is a really, really important thing because sometimes it's like if you looked around your room and your room
Yeah.
is a hot mess for a few days, that's technically is like, I don't know, I read it somewhere, it's like it's a reflection of how your mind is. If your room is
Yeah.
dirty, it means your mind is
It'll be
not.
like
Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos.
So
Whatever the room is, it's chaos. But when you walk into there's something about walking into the room so clean,
yeah.
and the room it smells nice, and like because that's how I sometimes meditate. Like I don't necessarily only pay attention to the medication, but also what I do in every day. Like I like candles. I love candles. So once I finish cleaning, the Sudanese householders, once you finish cleaning, تحط البخور. To make the house smell nice, and like it just feels it lightens up the whole house and it makes it smell good. You
Yeah.
can use the bahur, or you can use candles, or you can use those house spray, which is
Yeah.
whatever that makes you happy and relaxed. That contributes a lot to your mental well-being.
That
Cleanness is the number one.
that is so true. I definitely agree to that because it makes a huge difference. Just like walking to a clean room, you feel rejuvenated. You feel like you want to do things. Whereas
Yeah.
like if everything is like scattered everywhere, you're like, oh, do I really want to deal with this today?
Yeah,
And then you
it
go
puts
back to your
Yeah,
self.
it puts that pressure in you. Yeah, it does. And it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with you. I'll deal with you tomorrow. But tomorrow comes another tomorrow, and it just piles up. And actually, true story, that's how hoarders end up being diagnosed. Did you know that?
Wow.
Yeah, because it starts off slowly and it just builds up. Because a lot of people, when they see hoarders, they're like, oh, how could they live like this? Da, da, da. When in actuality, they themselves don't realize how bad it is, because by the time it gets there, they got so used to it.
Mhm.
And that itself is actually a mental illness, because I don't think anybody wants to live in a chaos environment.
Yeah.
So
And
that's one of the signs as well.
that is so true because recently I was in another training session and they mentioned that like things that you do repetitively, it becomes like a natural habit by default, and you're
Mhm.
not gonna recognize like, oh, this is something like I'm not doing. Like for example, if you fold your hand like that, there's
Mm.
always arm up and one arm down. But if they told you, okay, switch it the other way around, you're like, okay, how do I do this? That same
Yeah.
thing with like the habit that we're doing, especially with like that little analogy you mentioned.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted, obviously, with regards to like medications and getting help and things like that, even though some people might be willing to get the help, but there's also a stigma around the medication aspect of it. They'd be like, oh, these doctors are just, giving us too much pills to make our kids crazy. It could also be like from your family side, not necessarily the patient itself who's going through.
Mm.
So, like, how do we deal with people viewing like getting medication or viewing getting help that's just like a bad thing, not really like the help the person need?
If the medication is necessary, by all means take it. Don't
Yeah.
worry about what the people say. Or The medication is there for, because you have to understand that a normal brain is balanced like this. But when you go through, when you start having mental illness, your brain becomes like this. So in order for it to come back up and become balanced, you need that medication to balance it out. Some of the medication might not work, some of them might work. But if people are making you feel ashamed and embarrassed of you, or that statement, maybe it's going to make my child worse than better. Obviously, yes, some of the medications have side effects. It can make you worse than better. But it's way better to save your life by taking this medication rather than you getting worse and having a psychotic episode and doing something that there's no coming back from. Like, there was a story in 2018, which is sad. We had an African brother who, yes, he was taking his medication on and off, but the whole community made him feel so embarrassed about him taking medication. You're a married man, you've got kids. How dare you take medication? Like, whenever he takes medication, the wife says he's all good to me. But because he felt shamed and embarrassed, he will hide from his wife and not take it, and then they'll end up fighting. So this brother happens to not take his medication for a while, and then once he started, so one day he had a psychotic episode, went to the city, and the sad story is that he went and unalived someone, and then he had a weapon in his hand, and as the police were approaching him, telling him to put down your weapon, but because it wasn't him, he was having a psychotic episode, so he kept on saying, the guy is trying to harm me, the guy is trying to unalive me. And because nobody can see what he's seeing, then they shot him. So that day, 2 lives were lost. And until today, I always think about this guy, people made him feel ashamed, embarrassed for him to take his medication. If he hadn't listened, I know it's so hard not to listen to people. If he hadn't listened, maybe he'll still be here today.
That's true.
Or if I had advocated even more harder, would he still be here today? It's just, there's a lot that goes on. So save your life, please. Your life is so precious.
Step up your style game with Neecee Lexy Boutique. From trendy activewear to stylish shoes, we've got everything you need to shine. Shop now for the latest fashion pieces, comfort, style, and confidence all in one place.
Another thing I also wanted to know, because obviously a lot of these videos were on social media, people were seeing it. And sometimes social media, we're there to have a good connections, and sometimes we're consuming things that we shouldn't be consuming. So what role of social media plays really in our mental health today, and how can we protect our mental well-being while using it? Because even seeing that video can also trigger a lot of people as well.
Oh yeah, no, not only people, it triggered me. I was so angry, to be honest with you, seeing that on Facebook. I was so angry at I was more angry at the family and the community. And then for me personally, I stay away from anything that triggers me. And one of them is the news. Because you don't hear anything good in the news. I don't know when was the last time somebody opened the news and there was a good news, ever. And secondly is, like you said, yes, the young ones are getting affected more now than the adults. Our young generation, especially here in Melbourne, they're getting unalived every single day. It is gang related, or it has to do with mental health and mental well-being, or it can just be because, mom and dad, the way they've spoken about them, or you want to be like this, or comparing them to their siblings and things like that. So a lot of us here are actually literally being unalived a lot. It's becoming more common now than before. The social media can be beneficial for you, but at the same time, it cannot be beneficial for you. And whatever that triggers you, you stay away from it. But what I want to talk about today is actually the youth, that what is happening now that have joined the gangs. The gangs, I feel like that the youth were being either pressured into joining, not because they want to join, I feel like it. Because for me, I see the youth as kids. Still, they need someone to guide them. Still, they need someone that can be their mentor. But at this given moment, I feel like the community is not coming together to help these youth. It's more, oh, let's go whoever house and talk about whose kid is worse than what kid. Your kid, my kid is the same kid. A child is a child regardless. How are we supposed to help these young generations if we, the older generation, are just sitting and doing nothing? Like just as of recent, 2 years ago, one boy got unalived, and just on Friday, his brother got unalived. Yeah, parents had to put two of the children, one 18, one 17 years old. Oh, how old was he? 14. Imagine bearing your own kid, or imagine bearing someone that you love the most. Yeah, because why would a kid join a gang unless there's something missing? Which is, what is the one thing that we have in common in the African household? That reverse psychology that our parents do, that they don't realize that actually impacts our mental well-being. Either you will never become this, you will never become that. They will compare you to your brothers, they'll compare you to your sisters, they will even compare you to the dog next door. And then that also affects the child mind. You're never going to be good enough. So what does the kid say? I'm never going to be good enough. So when he goes out there and then he tries to fill that void with that love and care that he will get from strangers, then he'll go and do whatever they ask him to do. Because why? Because he's getting the love from outside the house rather than inside the house.
That's true.
It is. And let alone them, even me as an adult, like I'm looking for love. I'm looking to be around people who love me, care for me. But the moment I give that love, if I don't receive it, I feel hurt. I feel like, oh, they don't appreciate me. So if I end up going to a bad environment, I won't see it as a bad environment. What I will see is they're appreciating me more, they're loving me more. So my loyalty lies on them. Whatever they want, I will do for them because they're feeling that void, that empty space. And a lot of them now, they're making that mistake. They're making that mistake because, yes, mom and dad are working. Mom and dad are coming home, taking out their frustration sometimes, or sometimes not understanding the child. Why is he withdrawn? Why he's not eating? Why he always wants to go out? Because what is the one thing we say? Oh, you have a roof over your head, you have a bed to sleep, you have a fridge that's full of food. What else could you have been missing? And that is the wrong question to ask. You're supposed to say, as a parent or as a friend or as a sister or brother, what is it missing? What is wrong? Is there anything that I can do to make you feel better? Is there anything that I can do that I can help you with? Instead of pushing the person further away, try to be compassionate and understanding and not judge them. How is it that we as Black people don't judge other ethnicities, but yet we're judging our own? Why is that? We are so quick to destroy one another, but yet we can go work for another ethnicity, encourage them, uplift them, but yet we can't even start doing that from home.
Yeah, I noticed this is happening a lot. Like the story you're mentioning it is as if like all the Sudanese people took the same script and then just repeated it down the third generation, the way like you're like, oh, I'm not feeling well today. They're like, well, you go clean the dishes. You're always on your phone. That's why you're feeling that. They don't actually listen to their kids when they're actually trying to cry for help. And I feel like that is basically what that kind of stemmed from. And the compassion thing, like that is like a number one thing. They constantly compare you with your cousins, with your, playground, or they put so much pressure on these kids. And I definitely agree with you that the community or the way just kind of like how we talk to our children or talk to our siblings, it what kind of stems into like leading them to these places and them getting like outside love, but obviously not the good love. Yeah. And it's really, really sad. Like, I wish the community can actually, like, start saying, let's start it from home. Let's start making those changes and effort from our community, like within our household, so that this kid doesn't have to go outside and look for that what's it called, the peer pressure, the influence to be doing bad things, you know.
Yeah.
And
And that is why that what I did, sorry to cut you off, and that is why for me it was important that I had to break that in my own house.
yeah,
Like I've got 3 beautiful sons and a princess.
yeah,
And I had to make sure that I don't repeat what my mother did, because what my mother was taught is completely different to the generation that my kids are growing up, the same as it was mine.
mhm,
So now what I do with my kids, I have built a safe space for them at home.
mhm,
Growing up, I used to feel like I had to walk on eggshell because you couldn't sit down. You have to be doing something. You can't just be sitting down. The only time you could be sitting down is when it's time for you to go to bed. I never wanted that in my household for my kids. My
yeah,
kids, as long as they're doing their chores, they have done their homework. Once they have their dinner, if they wanted to relax and sit down, they can, because that is their home.
mhm,
Secondly, I built a bond with them where like they can talk to me as their friend, as their mother, as their father, as their everything. I will never react to something they've done. I will never say, why would you do that? Who told you to do that? I will always sit down and talk to them when they make a mistake, what they've learned from that mistake, and what is the consequences. Of course, they have to be punished, and which is the one thing I take away is their phone, because they can't live without a phone. These generation kids, it's like, oh, mom, my life is ruined. It's like, no, you'll get your phone after 1 week.
yeah,
But like I have that balance with them that even me as a parent, I'm also learning and growing with them,
mhm,
because we are not taught how to be parents. We basically winging it. But why can't I learn it with my children?
mhm,
Who says that they have to be wrong and I have to always be right, or I have to intimidate them or get them to fear me? Because that's what we all grew up in, being scared of our parents rather than actually respecting them and feeling comfortable with them. So I had to break all those to start from my home before I can actually start talking about it on social media. I had to put it into practice for me. And even though I've done that, it depending on my kids, what they do outside. I've done all I can. I know where their location is. I know where my son spent his money. I know that if they got stuck somewhere, they will call me without asking them any question. I'll send them an Uber, and then afterwards, when we come home, we actually discuss it.
mhm,
There is once a month we have this thing where we have a teddy bear,
mhm,
where we will go around sitting. I don't like when you do this, but I'd rather you do that and that. So
mhm,
we go around, we express what we have learned from each other, what we can improve from one another, and what we appreciate from one another. Life is too short. You gotta tell the people that you love them, love them. Build that bond with your children, because if you don't build it with them, they're gonna build it with the wrong people.
mm,
My son has anxiety. Sometimes, why? Because it's that peer pressure of school, of his exam. He has to study, he has to be the smart kid, he wants to be the smart kid. He puts that pressure on himself. And I have to reassure him, say to him, look, you do as best as you can, which is supposed to be the other way around, but I didn't want it to be the other way around. I want it to be,
yeah,
hey, my son, you can study, do the best as you can. After that, you just leave it to God. Because if I was to push him and he's pushing himself, guess what's going to happen? He's just going to jump off the cliff.
mhm,
Not like the actual cliff, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
So that plays a lot in his mental well-being. Every word that we use as human beings, it does impact us mentally, physically, and emotionally.
mhm,
Words are like a bullet. Your mouth is like a weapon, like a gun. Once you shoot it, it goes straight to the person and it will create a wound. And if that wound heals, the scar is there for the rest of their life. Will always remind them of what you have said, or what's insecurity that you have created in them. So please, as one Sudanese, as Africans, we need to start making changes from our homes. The only way we're going to save our children is by basically throwing away our pride, our ego. It doesn't matter how we look. It doesn't matter if people started judging you. As long as your children are safe and their mental well-being is safe and you are safe, that's all that matters. Throw away the stereotype. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. We humans, we learn, we make mistakes, we develop, and we grow.
mhm.
But yeah,
I honestly commend you for all that you have said, as well as like, you not only preaching, but actually practice what you preach, and
Yeah.
go home and working with your children, because you are actually setting examples of like what other parents should also try. The
Mm,
teddy bear idea, I think that was kind of also new. And I feel like we all need that teddy bear to go around, to be
mm,
as well as like kind of open up. And I feel like having a welcoming environment without judging, and just
mm.
like child feel like they can talk to you, is super
Yes.
important. And I commend you for like having that for your children, and
Mm,
also understanding that your child, he wants to be an overachiever and things like that. And then you as a parents, how could you support that? How can you ensure that he would feel comfortable enough to come and tell you about his own experience, and how you can also help him and get him to the right direction? And these are all
mm,
like commendable effort that you're doing. And I would hope that a lot of parents could actually start doing that, because in our community, it's really, really hard for you to come to your parent to be like, oh my God, this course is hard. Da, 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 da. Be like, go, you just go
mm.
study. Like your friends
Yeah.
don't have two heads, so why are you complaining? Go. They
Yeah.
would not actually start looking at you like this is a sign of you crying for help. They will make
Mm,
you just complainer. And I love the
yeah.
fact not looking at it that way. You actually look at it as a place of like, hey, let's come together and make sure that we find solution.
Yeah.
And he also talked about like, the importance of like the physical health, the mental health, and things like that. I
Mm.
wanted to first, before I get into that conversation about physical health and things like that, I want to say, what are the top 3 resources or practice that you would recommend for anybody struggling with mental health, just in your area that so that way, if there's anybody in Australia or Melbourne, they want to get help, where can they go to get these helps?
Sorry. Can you please repeat it again?
No
Because I
worries.
brain just go by and all I can hear is this.
No problem at all. What I'm saying is like, obviously, there might be some people who are today like watching this video, and they're like,
Mm,
wow, like Nura, whatever you said to me is really touching, and I
mm.
wanted to get help. So where can I go to actually, there 3 resources or area that they can go and get that help?
Well, the first one is they can go to the GP, which is the family doctor, and they can give them a mental health plan,
Yeah,
which they can give them an 8 session, free session to speak to a therapist, a psychologist.
yeah,
Start from there. And then secondly is speak to social worker. There's a lot of social worker that is with Centrelink. I don't know how you call them in Canada. It's where they pay for people money. I think it's called the welfare.
Welfare?
welfare.
Yes, welfare. But hi, thank you for joining us. So the welfare that they do have a social worker there, a family social worker. The third thing is there is a non-profit organization that you can find through social media that can be beneficial for you and your family. And by all means, every information that you share is very confidential, and the only person that can share it is you. So don't be scared thinking that, oh, they're going to tell my information. They're not allowed to by law unless you sign a contract or sign a release form saying that your information can be shared.
Mhm.
And your community, reach out to your community. The community leader, they are, we've got there's so much funding that is available that can contribute to your children basketball, soccer, excursions, and things like that. So, but the first one, the main one is for me that I would really strongly recommend is that first go to your doctor, speak to your doctor, and your doctor will actually direct you to the right direction, what you need, because I don't know your backstory, so I can't say you need to do this and that, but your doctor is the best place to start first. And given the fact that we live in Australia and it's for free, hey, by all means, we're very lucky.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that information. And I hope that everybody who is watching this, are especially in your area, they're able to get the necessary help. And then also there's an app called BetterHelp. You can also download that BetterHelp. There's a lot of therapists online. They can chat with you, guide you to the right steps on how you can get solutions that are available. If you're in Canada, United States, I think you could use that app. Yeah. So the other questions I want to kind of circulate back is like, how does mental health impact like the physical health, and what can people, should people do to be aware of the connections of the two?
Oh yeah, it does impact your physical health.
And I think, yeah, if you can answer it, Nura, that will be really important. Or also, we have TT Mysticums.
Titi, I feel like Titi could answer that. She's more expert at that. I mean, because for me, when I'm depressed, I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna work out. But if I had someone like Titi next to me who says to me, get up and work out, that motivates me, best believe it goes head to head together. Because if you're not okay internal, you'll not be okay looking external. So the when it comes to the fitness and the health aspect, no idea. The expert is right there. He's there, and that's why we needed her today.
Welcome
But
to
working out, I just go for a walk.
Thank you.
To be honest with you.
And thank you for being
Hey.
patient with me. How does your mental health affect you physically? So basically, it affects your central nervous system, which is basically like the signaling from your brain to your body that tells you what to do with your body, right? So if your mental health is not right, all right, your central nervous system gets blocked, and you're not able to move. You're not able to think properly. You're not able to do the actual things that you do every day on your daily living, like going to school, going to work, going to work out, going to even just walk even. Yeah, even just to get out of bed, you won't be able to do that because everything is just blocked.
Yeah.
But working out helps clear that fog, that mental health fog that you have, that fog you have in the brain, helps clear it, and it secretes like some dopamine, some happy chemicals as well, and so you're able to from there feel yourself, remember who you are, and then continue about yourself.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you for that expert insight that we need. Awesome. And then another thing I wanted to just say, earlier we introduced Miss Thiccums as your, the health fitness expert in today's chat. I wanted to just kind of, before our audience who are just getting to know you for the first time, they probably want to know like what inspire your passion for fitness and helping others to lead a healthier lifestyle.
Ooh, that was a long story. But I'll try to cut it short. Basically, growing up, I would see people with different shapes and sizes, and I used to wonder, like, what makes people get to that extent where they can't be helped anymore, or what happens to people where they go really skinny to the point where it's just bones? Like, what goes on with them mentally, physically? What happens in there? And then yeah, I found out about it from the show called The Biggest Loser. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That show. Yes. Oh my
I used
God.
to be like, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna be changing people's lives, I'm gonna be making them healthy. I'm gonna be making them be who they wanna be. So yeah, long story short, I took it in seriously and went and studied how to be a personal trainer and what I needed to do as a personal trainer. And here I am, trying to change people's lives one step at a time.
Amen to that. I love that.
And she has every time when I look at her, like her post or her stories, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym. I need to go to the gym. I need to actually literally go to the gym. Where before I would never even think about going to the gym.
That's it. And then one day you go into the gym.
One of the things that I always joke around with my colleagues, because I also have like a degree in kinesiology, right? I say there's people who study gym and then there's people who do gym. Me, I'm just the one who studied gym.
Yeah. And I study food and eat the food and look at the gym from far away. I'm like, hello, how you doing?
Yeah.
More for
yeah, you need to do it.
And one thing I want to say to you, Titi, what advice do you have for beginners who feel like overwhelmed by starting fitness journey? Because obviously going to the gym, it's hard. Like for me, I would be like, okay, today I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go turn this YouTube video. I'll watch people going to the gym on the YouTube video. I'm so inspired, but then I put my phone down. I'm like, okay, I forgot it. So for beginners, how can they actually, find an inspiration to get them there?
It's not an easy step, I can tell you. Until now, I still struggle. But just the thought of you need to go to the gym, that's the first step. As long as you accept that, okay, I need to go to the gym, I really need to make a change about myself, that's the first step. As soon as you've passed that, then it's like the door's been opened, so it's easier for you to go in. But yes, you're gonna be in pain. Yes, there's gonna be days where you're gonna look at the gym and be like, oh, I don't want to. But you just need to end up building that relationship with the gym. Even if you go once a week for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and then gradually build up the minutes, then that's all it takes. It's not a race, and it's not going to be a quick fix. So the slower you are with it, the more better your journey will be.
Thank you for that. And Nura, you want to say something?
No, she made it sound like slow and steady. Because I'm the type, like, I want to go from 0 to 100 real quick. Like, I need to build me some mass and muscles. But you know what? I'm just going to keep it there.
And you're not the only one. You're not the only one. A lot of people will come and ask me, how can I get 6 packs in just 3 weeks? And I'm looking at them like, are you okay?
No, but I would like to get a 6-pack though.
Exactly. But it's slow and steady. And just don't keep looking at yourself and wondering, oh my God, is this going to happen soon? Enjoy your journey and have this thing called delayed gratification, where eventually the good is going to come out of it in the end, but you don't know when.
That's true. And then what would you say is like, what is the most important like nutrition in achieving like?
Can I just be excused for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. What would you
mute myself?
Yeah, sure.
How do I mute myself?
There's like a little mic button there. Hold on, I can
mute at the bottom left.
Mute you. Yeah. So one thing I wasn't gonna say, how is it important, like in aspect of like nutrition, to achieve like your overall health? And what are some like dietary plans or tips that you say like, hey, if beginners do this, they're more likely to like actually achieve their goal?
Okay, so with the weight loss journey and weight gain journey, basically the health journey, it's 80% of what you eat and 20% of your workouts. So basically everything revolves around what you eat, yeah? If you don't eat healthy, you don't look after your diet, and then you just work out, you won't really get the results that you want. So you need to make sure, if you're very serious about it, be very serious about your diet, and then be very serious about your workout. Yeah.
That's really, really good. And then can you like just give me like a more of like a how do you approach fitness? So let's say for people that have a busy calendar, they don't have like, they probably need like a quick routine to do it. And yeah, so like what are some like suggestions or advice do you have for them? Because obviously there's the one that are kind of starting, and then there's the one that have the biggest busy schedule. They don't even have time for gym. Like what suggestions you can have for them?
So I would recommend a full body workout that could go from any time from like 45 minutes to an hour, really. If they could just squeeze that in their day, even twice a week, yeah. As long as they're doing the push, pull, and working on their core, that's all they need, really. So they just gotta do those repetitive moves on their body to get their muscles used to it, and then their body will go back, recover, and rebuild itself, and then come back again, and their muscles have grown. Yeah. So just 45 minutes, full body, once a week, twice a week would be good.
Oh, that's really good. I feel like everybody can have that 45 minutes to add to your calendar, no matter like how busy you are. Definitely, you can give 5 minutes for your health, health as well.
And literally for your health, and as well, it helps you for your future as well. For like if you start working now in your 20s, working out now in your 20s, it will show in your 30s. You continue to work in your 30s, it will show in your 40s. So eventually, gradually, by the time you're like in your 80s, you won't even look like you're 80 years old. You won't be lifting like you're 80 years old. You'll be walking around like you're 60 years old, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading somewhere, it says that if you even exercise like for 30 minutes a day or so, that it actually increases your life by like 3 hours. Like
Yeah.
it really does help, like, making you live longer and healthy and things like that. Yeah. So
It does.
and then
It does.
obviously, like, earlier you said like a lot of people come to you, they wanted to get like instant result, like I want a six-pack in like 3 weeks. So what is the biggest myth in exercise and fitness that you wanted to debunk, that you're like, nah, this is not how you guys should be going about it?
Losing 10 kilos in 4 weeks.
Is that impossible or is it possible?
It's impossible. Wait, it's possible, but it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's unhealthy because you will be losing muscles, you'll be losing fat, you'll be losing basically everything you need, and you will just be skin and bones. Yeah. So, like, if you want to lose weight in a healthy way, but lose it slowly, gradually, or else you'll have that excess skin as well. You will get stretch marks on top of that. There'll be a lot of complications. You'll be losing a lot of nutrients that you need in your body as well. So if you want to lose weight healthily, maintain your weight, lose it nicely, keep eating your nutrients, keep your diet well as well. What else? Oh, massage regularly, do recovery, so that way you can prevent injury from happening. A lot of people don't do that too. They don't stretch and then they end up having injuries.
So one thing I'm experiencing is a relapse. So I'm gonna explain why. So I would try to exercise and be like, okay, I'm gonna work out. Then I would lose that weight. I start feeling great, going size down. And then, or sometimes I would even do like intermittent fasting. I wouldn't be eating for a few days. And as I look at that, then as soon as I'm like, okay, I'm good. Then I feel myself, I'm gaining weight as faster than before. I'm like, how do I prevent that? Because it's like yin and yang. It's like 1 month I'm like, and then the next month I'm like back into like ground zero again with struggling to put on more weight. So how do I prevent that relapse?
So when you're feeling good, what are you doing then? Are you stopping working out or are you still continuing?
No, okay. So I told you, like, when I feel guilty, I'm like putting weight, right? Then I'll be like, okay, I need to do intermittent fasting from 6 to 6, not eat, and then eat probably like 2 meals a day, and then drink more water. Then I start looking good, and I'm like, okay, I'm back on the business, Then I start eating more.
And then you stop going to the and then you stop going to the gym.
Yeah.
Yes. So working out is basically it becomes like a lifestyle. Like if you stop, all your results stop with you. But it becomes part of you. Like you literally have to include it in your life. Yeah. So you're feeling good, you still gotta go in there so you can keep feeling good. Don't stop going in there.
So you have to be consistent. Like so as Neecee said, so her just getting back all the weight real quick.
Even more sometimes. Yeah. Even gaining more than what I lost. And I'm just like,
yeah. That used to be me until I added magnesium into my diet. Like to make my metabolism go faster. I don't know, that worked for me. But for other people, I don't know.
Yeah.
So when you work out, your metabolism like automatically starts going faster, and it's not as slow as it used to be. And so when you stop working out, it's like this hunger strike just comes in. So what tends to happen is you forget to focus on how you were dieting before, and then you just keep eating whatever you want, whatever looks good, whatever feels good. You just keep eating it. So if you get to that stage where you look good and you feel good and that's the weight you want it to be, then I would recommend reducing your workouts, but not reducing it too much to an extent where your body notices there's a change happening, So you still focus on your dieting. Maybe if you used to work out 3 times a week, reduce it to probably 2 times a week, and then continue about your days and weeks as usual.
So one thing I also notice is like when I'm losing weight, it tends to be like a lot of the water weights lost very fast, right? And how do I get my body to come to a stage where like actually utilizing my fats as an energy, so that way I can lose the fat, not just like the carbohydrates that I'm eating or like the instant calories that I'm consuming.
So your body automatically does that, but you need to make sure that you're eating the right foods.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're eating too much carbs,
Mm-hmm.
then your body will get confused on whether to store those carbs as energy or store those carbs as fat. So again, it goes back to a balanced diet, and then your body does the work for you. Your body has this kind of like, oh, how can I call it? It's like little mini people working inside your body, saying, okay, this food, let's see, this food is for energy. Let's move it in, store it into the energy area.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let the bus know that the bus can go into the energy section and store whatever food we just took now, and then takes the next food, does this, whatever. Okay, we're storing it into the fats area. So that's your body. Your body automatically does that. But if you're feeding it the wrong food,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna take the wrong food into the wrong area. Yeah. So that's where you're working with your body to make sure that your body understands which food goes where and what you want to do with your body. That's where I said that whole, you gotta have that mind body soul connection.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So this one question is for both of you. I wanted to know, like, what is one piece of advice that you would give to anybody watching today if they're feeling stuck or they want to make change in their life, whether it's changing their mental health or changing their lifestyle and exercise? What is one piece of advice you would give it to them?
Ooh, one piece of advice. I would say, get up off your nyash. If you see some active people around you, if you know some active people around you, go to them. Don't be afraid. Ask them, what can I do? How can I do this? And they will be happy to show you what to do in the gym. They will be happy to show you what to do and how to do, so you can be able to be healthy and have a good body again. Just don't be scared. Just go in there and ask. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask.
I was going to say the same thing. Don't say you're going to do it tomorrow. Don't let fear hold you back from the potential, the person that you know you could be. Whether it's for your mental well-being or your physical well-being, whatever well-being it is, do not let fear hold you back. Our biggest enemy is our fear.
That's true.
Because we try to let go of that fear, and then we get anxious. Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day. No, the more you say tomorrow, the year will be over. So let go of the fear. It's not easy, but just get up and just do it.
Amazing. So for all our viewers worldwide that wanted to get in touch with either Nura or Ms. Thiccums, where can they get a hold of you guys to be able to follow the journey or even get like some expert advice, information about the stuff that you guys are working on?
Go ahead.
For me, it's my TikTok, and also because on TikTok, my name is actually Big Mama, which Neecee is going to tag it down somewhere below. And then my actual Facebook is Nura Khidir, and that's where I started off my journey, and where I put videos that I find that resonates with me, and give credit to the people that I've actually shared it from on TikTok. But I go majority of the time live on TikTok and have about mental health, mental well-being discussion there. So you can find me there as well. And if you have any questions, please do message me. And the moment I see it, I will respond to it.
Amazing.
As for me, it's Miss Thiccums on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube. Miss Thiccums Fitness. So yeah, don't be afraid. Come through, message me, ask me for whatever tips and advice you guys need, and I've got yous.
Amazing. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate our discussion.
Let me interrupt you. Can I just acknowledge the woman that you are? Oh my God. You are such an amazing person for having this platform and bringing people together to just go on your platform and share the love and the care and the journey. And this is what the community is about, is that
Yes.
bringing each individual person from all over the world and just coming together into helping one another and making a change. And this is how change starts to become a change. And I just want to acknowledge you and your hard work.
By
Well, I'm glad you did.
first, we make it happen.
We make it happen now. Aye. No, but I'm actually proud of this, and I hope more women will come to you and get interviewed. I hope. Is it just women based or men as well?
It's open for everybody. So essentially, like what I do is like anybody that's either in any career, like professional expert in their field, they can be an artist, they can be a musician, they can be doctors, educators. They come in here, especially like for me, I try and focus a lot in the South Sudanese community because we feel like sometimes a lot of our stories are being told by outsiders and they don't tell it the way, and they don't actually share like that there's so many good of us out here that are doing amazing things and advocating for things that doesn't get like, you know, time to be shed lights to it. And that's why like I really wanted to bring a lot of Sudanese into the show, so that way if one person look at you, they'd be like, wow, Miss Thiccums actually inspired me to get into this thing, like I want to do the same thing as her. So that's basically essentially why I have this platform, is to give voices to the people, because the more you have people that look like you are doing things, you're going to be inspired to actually do better. And if I might not be like the only podcast here, there might be also another ladies who will be like, you know what, I like what Neecee is doing, I want to also open a podcast to talk about things and things like that. So that's essentially why the platform exists, is giving people voices and giving people representation of what they can see in the community. Be like, I can do that too.
I wanted to say, Neecee, thank you so much for actually opening up your platform, your home, and bringing everybody together, and for them to share their journey and for them to actually connect. You're doing the Lord's work, is all I can say. And for a young woman to be, to make a name for herself is not easy. And then you are working and like striving. And I know that a lot of women with younger people who are your age or even younger, they will look up to you, be inspired by you. I'm inspired by you and all the work that you put in your videos. They're absolutely so beneficial and very educational as well. So thank you for allowing us to come into your platform and for me to share my story. And thank you for make me feel safe and comfortable enough to actually, I was a bit nervous, but I'm no longer nervous. So, which is a good thing, because usually when I'm nervous, I'm like, I don't talk. But so thank you for opening up a safe space for me to come into your platform and share my journey. And also thank you for giving an opportunity for TT as well. And for TT, you have inspired a lot of people as well. So I want to also give you your flowers. For Thiccums, you have done such an amazing job, and I know like from here on it's just all the way up. And I wish both of you beautiful goddess African women, like there's going to be great blessings and great love and just great things will happen in your lives. And I pray for each and everybody that's watching this, that they have a beautiful and wonderful life. And no matter what happens, you deserve to be loved. You are loved, and you deserve everything that is good that's happening to you. Don't focus only on the bad. Focus also on the good. So thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
If I have people to nominate, do I tell you or send them to you?
They can, there's a link with the calendar, so I can share with you that link, and then all they have to do is just go to that link and sign up for the interview, the date that they wanted it, because it's a lot easier for them if they fill up that form, so I get the notification that they're coming.
Okay, I've got a lot of people that
get a lot of interviews.
Wait, thank you so much for having us.
Wait, TT, you got something up your sleeve, just the way you went like this.
Oh yeah, I said I got a lot of people coming for you.
Like not as in, meaning like to interview, don't say
to interview. Yes, I've got a lot of people for her. No worries. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great
Bye-bye.
Step up your style game with
The
Neecee
awards on
Lexy
the shelf, yeah, she's on the rise. Social waves, making plays all day and night. Neecee Lexy in the spotlight, shining so bright. From marketing dreams to the YouTube flow, live interviews with stars you know. Every post, every show, she's changing the game. Neecee Lexy, yeah, remember the name. She's a boss, she's a fight, watch her come alive. Making moves, breaking news, got the world in a stride. Digital queen, living out a dream. Neecee Lexy, always on the scene. So hit that subscribe, stay along for the ride with Neecee Lexy. The hustle